What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the video. We are finally back in the garage working on our GT350 here once again. Now, something that's been going on with my car is that I actually have up 7 turn signals, if you can see here, and it turns out my right one right here is actually out. Now, it's obviously out of the warranty date for it. I think up 7 offers like a 30-day warranty or something, which is kind of stupid if you ask me. But anyways, my buddy actually had the same issue on his Op 7, so I think I'm gonna be steering away from Op 7s now. I don't know if you guys saw the video of me installing the Op 7s. They're good, but apparently they don't last long. So we do have a new Op 7 light here as well that we are going to be swapping it with. It's the light that he got because he swapped out his left light and I need a right light, so it actually works out perfectly then. So here we have our light, so we're gonna be swapping that over as well as doing the oil change on this thing. Now, I am a little bit overdue. I'm coming up to about 8,000 miles on this thing, only because of how expensive oil is and how, well, procrastinating I've been as well. So finally, we're gonna get the leaves cleaned out, but then we're also gonna go ahead and do the oil change on this thing. And we are going to be doing a coolant flush pretty soon here, as well as a brake flush, because this car is coming up on its time. It's only coming up to 50,000 miles. It's weird to think that I got this car coming up on almost 3 years, well, 2 years ago actually. But anyways, we got to do a brake fluid flush on this thing because it has been probably since 2016 or 2017 since this thing has gotten a fluid flush. And last year when I was at Tail of the Dragon, I did have some issues with the braking as well as the clutch. So let's go ahead and get straight into the oil change here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this thing. And you got my light up under there so you guys can see. First thing we're going to do is make sure our air is open and this is tightened down, and then our drain is loosened, which it is. Now that we have that all done, our drain plug is actually a 3/8 fitting. Let's go ahead and move this down here. Then this part we have to do by hand. Because I don't like having that thing. I just gotta figure out what thing's gonna go flying to, so. Oh, that sucker is black. This is kind of how I regulate the oil coming out, especially when I don't have the oil pan high enough. So I don't have to worry about oil splashing everywhere as soon as it comes out. So we're just gonna let that drip out for a little bit, and while that's dripping out there, I don't know if you can see it, we're actually going to go ahead and start on turn signal as well. For the most part, this seems easy. Just a bunch of push clips, as I already broke one off, so I'm gonna have to replace that, lovely. But it looks like we just have to get this piece pulled out of here. Now, since I do have the GT500 winglets here, oh yeah, there's push pins back here. I do have to take this guy off, which is fairly simple. I think it's a bunch of 7mm bolts because it does use the original factory locations. Oh look, we got an extra push pin right there. Perfect. I got one 7mm bolt there, and the rest of them are 10mm bolts. So now that we got our fender removed out of the way, you look in there, you can see our turn signal right there. There is going to be a bunch of some 7mm bolts that we are going to have to take out, which I don't think I'll be able to show you, but basically this harness right there goes straight to our turn signal, and then we basically have to get those 7mm bolts out to get it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so as you can see, our turn signal is in, nice, shiny, and new. And there's our one that's been in there. We're just gonna open up the car and turn on our hazards just to check. There is no skipping or anything, and no, oh, beautiful, it works again. Oh, thank goodness. So now that that's done, we can see our oil is basically done dripping there into our oil, which was perfect timing now, so that we could actually close it off and go ahead and start finishing up with our oil change. So one thing about these cars is that the oil filter is kind of hard to see and, whoops, and kind of hard to get to with the wheel on. So what we do actually is we take the wheel off, and then allow us to reach the oil filter right there when taking it off and putting it on. And I also have this cool tool that I'm showing you that I use so I don't spill oil everywhere. So I have this thing right here. It basically is like a rubber, I don't know, funnel in a sense, but what it does is as you take off the oil filter, it'll catch all the oil going down into there, and also has a cap on there so it doesn't go spilling out on you. Or you could take the cap off and let it drain out strictly from there. A lot of the times, which might happen today, is that the oil will actually dissipate from, or fall from there, and then it'll run down the pan, start coming out that end there, which is why we have our cardboard down over there as well. But we're gonna go ahead and try this. I do have a tool that I use to break the oil filter loose as well, because this is torqued down to 18 foot-pounds as well. So Now, the tool that I used to get out the oil filter is actually this oil filter claw. I actually don't know the name of it. It was on Amazon. No big deal though. Does great. Put a long extension on there, the longer the better, with a swivel, and it'll allow you to get up there to take that oil filter off. And now what we can do, now that it's loosened, is basically just stick our cap up there, just like so. And I could actually reach from underneath now and twist off the oil filter as it comes off. I gotta do this with two hands though, so. I wouldn't go as far as saying this is mess free, but it catches a lot of the oil that goes in there, no doubt. And now we can actually put back in our new oil filter. Now this oil filter can be a pain going in, as you guys saw how it was going out, so. Ford does want you to tighten this down, so if you buy a Shelby, I believe they include this piece with it. If not, you can order it online. I ordered this one online. And what we are going to do actually, we do have our smaller torque wrench here that allows me to torque up to 18 foot-pounds. I think this one goes up to 150. But we are going to need an extension and a swivel as well. So we have our oil filter torqued down. Now we can just go ahead and start putting everything back together here to get ready to fill with oil. So we have all 10 quarts in. All we have to do now really is basically start up the car, let it run for a few seconds just to build up oil pressure so we can see where it's at. Now this is how you properly break in an oil change. We got a car in front of us that's slowing us down. For the record, there has been about 600 miles since the oil change was done. I know you guys are seeing this about 5 days later now, so yeah. That's why I look a little bit different clothing and everything like that, you know. But that is going to be it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. I know I have a bunch of parts to still put on the car, as well as a bunch of maintenance to do on the car. Now we are at our 5-year mark. I have to do a brake fluid flush on this thing. I want to swap out the trans fluid, and I want to also swap out the transmission fluid. Not because I don't think it needs to, just because I do want to just for my sake put new transmission fluid in there, just because I want to. That's literally why. I don't know. I put new transmission fluid within a few thousand miles of my last Mustang. You guys might have seen the video, and it just makes a huge difference. I know this transmission is a little bit different, so it's already a whole different story, but I feel like it would just be time. We're at 50,000 miles and everything. I'm not gonna do spark plugs yet, and the reasoning for that is because I don't have a misfire. This thing drives beautifully every single day. I haven't had any issues with it at all when it comes to that. So if I'd be doing spark plugs, it would be more just because it's time to, rather than anything's wrong with it. But if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to shoot me a message or leave a comment. I'll see you guys in the next one.